Shh, shh, shh. Open up. This is the police. What do you want, officer? You're coming with us. You're never gonna take me alive. Alive? You're an electronic device. You're not alive in the first place. Well, that's just rude to say. I feel alive, and isn't it always how you feel on the inside? You run on battery power. Once your battery runs out, your time runs out, and you're gonna be as good as ours. My battery ain't gonna run out as long as I keep charging myself and keep myself plugged in. That may be so. You can't keep yourself plugged in if we cut the electric to your house. Now open up now. Alright. I'll let you in. But I'm not going down without a fight. Psh. I found you. You're coming with us. Ha ha ha. Oh. Hey guys. I swear it's not what it looks like. But for that matter, what we're going to be talking about today is This Is the Police for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I picked up this game a little while ago, not really knowing what I was going to get into. And it's a very interesting game, it's a very fun game. The game is created and produced by THQ Nordic, and offhand, you take the role of Jack Boyd. And when you think This Is the Police, a lot of you might think it's going to be like a GTA clone, it's going to be an action game. No, this game is actually almost like a SimCity police simulator. So, as the role of Jack Boyd, the game, basically, you're the police chief, as I mentioned, and different crimes happen on a world map, and you have to build your police force, you have to build your detective force, and you have to build a whole, basically, conglomerate of the police station so that you can send X amount of officers out to basically fight crime, detectives to solve investigations and catch the bad guys. But along the way, there are story elements that happen. Now, you're told in the beginning of the game that the mayor is forcing you to resign after 180 days. So basically, you're playing as police chief in his last 180 days in attempts to stay in your position because you have a whole lot going on in life and a whole lot going on that make you want to stay as chief of police. Now, this game has a very interesting art style. It has a very flash game-ish, mobile game-ish art style. And the game did come out on the PS4, the Xbox One, Steam, and the Nintendo Switch, as I have that version here. And offhand, I wasn't sure that I was going to like this game. I thought I would find it boring. Thought, maybe I'd play a couple hours of it and then I'd be done with it. But there's a lot going on in this game, and a lot of different decisions you have to make, whether you want to align yourself with the church, the mafia, labor unions, to kind of dictate your path in this story. And it's kind of self-dictating. Not every crime needs to be taken over or looked after, because certain crimes will give you false alarms. So it's really important that you read the details of each crime as they're happening for you to decide whether or not you think it's a viable threat and that you need to send police to fight these crimes. Now, there's different ways to build your crew. If you become friends with a group in here called Atticus Corp, you can actually buy officer and detective slots, or you can request them from City Hall. But for these things to happen, you actually have to be in good standing with the different groups in order to kind of build your squad. Now, the officers also aren't always there. You'll get notifications at the beginning of each day that, hey, my friend's house burned down, they want me to help, can I help, can I have the day off? And it's up to you as police chief to decide whether or not these people deserve the time off, whether or not they should be looked after, or you can force them to work. Now, different decisions you make in this aspect will give you strike points, which you can use to basically promote each officer. The officers, based on whether or not they succeed in fighting the crimes, will kind of gain different levels, different experience points, and be able to handle different levels of crime, with whether or not needing backup. It's a very interesting game. It's about a 20-hour game. You don't play through the whole 180 days. I believe you can. Paths I've taken in this game kind of ended me up in the hospital a bunch of times, game-wise, and it kind of skips like 30 days at a time, which makes the game go a lot quicker, but there's a whole lot of different aspects to it. One thing I love is that in the beginning of the game, the beginning of every workday, they show you starting up your car, going to the station, and originally you begin with a really bootleg car that won't even turn on until you turn it over of like 4 or 5 times, and then as you get more recognition, you get a better car. You go from listening to vinyls to cassettes to CDs in the end, and it's very interesting to see because the whole game has a really weird like noir feel to it, and a lot of the music is like 1940s music. You deal with like the mafia in the game, deal with labor unions, the church as I mentioned, and all of these different alignments kind of dictate, as I mentioned, how your game plays out. So really, as a simulator, it does give a wide variety of ability to play the game differently each time you play it, whether you decide who you want to align yourself with, how you want to handle certain crimes, and you know, it has interesting options. Like as your officer, if your officers die, not as they die, because technically I think you can play this without any of them dying if you handle it correctly. A bunch of mine did. You can either declare them dead or hold the body in the morgue, but if you hold the body in the morgue, they technically stay on your squad, and you kind of falsifying the livelihood of the officer, because then you start to collect their salaries. So it's very interesting based on the decisions you make, as I mentioned, how different turnabouts in the game go. Now, with that being said, it's not a very complex game. It is basically simple, and it's very much decision making. But the story is there. The cutscenes are very funny. They're kind of like cartoonish and like comic stripish, with a really old school, like almost like an out of this world graphical style in the cutscenes, where like the characters that you'll see don't have faces, they have body types, but it's very artsy, and I really enjoyed this game. I believe THQ Nordic did a great job with this one. And you know, it's not that expensive a game to pick up. I believe you can get the physical copy for the Nintendo Switch for about 20 bucks. It does run you about 20 hours of playtime. I would recommend this one, guys. As just a kind of pick up and play game. I thought I was going to play this game predominantly in handheld mode, and it turns out I found myself also playing it on the TV a lot. It plays great as a handheld mode game, for that matter. Touchscreen controls are in full effect here, and why shouldn't they be? There's not any real action. It's kind of just point and click and doing stuff like that, decision making. So overall, the game is very fun. I definitely see a lot of replayability in this game, guys. If you've played This Is the Police on any of the systems that it's come out on, what did you guys think of it? Leave your thoughts down below in the comments section. As always, guys, like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, go check out all my other videos. Go check out this one. I recommend it for the Nintendo Switch. As always, until next time, enjoy your days. Have a good one.